Alright, so let's continue to cruise forward. We need to check on Bram. We have not heard from Rox yet. That's disappointing. Um, but we need to visit Air in Stonewright Steading. Why is this door closed? You would need to dig into the wiki or something to identify that. You wouldn't necessarily just like notice it willy nilly. Mail. Traherne. Traherne will be attending the summit. Alright, cool. That's nice. I foresee that my presence will cause a bit of a stir, that the attendees will want a report on the Pact's plans. Oh, yeah, so he is Marshal of the Pact, remember? Um, so, yes, I suppose that would be a logical thing, because the Pact was formed. The three orders were all dedicated to fighting the dragons. The Pact was formed of the three orders with the intent of fighting the dragons. And Mordramoth is an Elder Dragon. So it's very fair to look at the Pact and say, what is the Pact going to do about it? That is kind of your thing. And so, if Traherne's going to be there representing the Silvari or representing the Pact, whatever the case may be, then it's fair for people to look at him and say, hey, man, like...
Hey, good to see you back in Hallbrack.
Thanks. That would be, I think, a completely justifiable thing from, like, within the story.
Hello, Mother.
Yeah.
Bram, what a surprise. Hello, old friend. What are you doing here?
We need to talk to you about something important.
Yeah,
Let's
pay
sit
attention to
down
your
and
son,
talk.
Air.
We can
Jeez.
talk in comfort.
What?
All right, I
All
can
right.
see by your faces that it's serious.
Yeah.
Tell me, what
Here,
is it?
we'll sit down too. Should you be worried? Yes. An Elder Dragon has awakened. It's already attacked two major forts, says Bram. Fort Salma and Concordia. And it's going after waypoints. So, we say to Air, we've come to invite New White Bear to a summit to discuss the threat. No, White Bear won't attend anything like that. We have more than enough challenge with Jormag and the Sons of Svanir. That seems closed-minded. Surely there's something we can say to
You don't
convince him.
understand. This is bigger than us. Jormag is dangerous, but it's only one member of the Pack of Elder Dragons.
I understand more than you think.
No, you don't. If you did, you'd know that Mordramoth's reach is spreading. Its tendrils are showing up all over the place.
The Elder Dragons each behave differently. We're only beginning to learn of Mordramoth's power. I just don't believe White Bear would leave here while Jormag's threat looms.
Well, why don't you let us talk to Newt ourselves, Air? Oh, look at that. It stood up when we opened the chat. Furthermore, we're not responsible for all over the place. We're responsible for our people. Now, that would... So it sounds incredibly dense, right? But of all the races, like that probably most aligns with the Norn. The Norn, even as like culturally, the idea that they even live in like a big city like this is very weird, because of their fierce independence, right? So, I mean, it's a stupid thing to say, but I guess it's as Norn as anything, I suppose. All right, so we're saying, hey, if you sleep on this Mortarmoth thing, then it's really gonna screw you over, right? Um, If what you say is true, then it may be worth a discussion at least. Yeah, that's what we're saying
what
here.
would make White Bear more likely to attend your summit.
Oh dear.
What's that?
If he had fewer headaches, he'd be more inclined to leave Hallbrack. The Sons of Svanir have been even more trouble lately. Killing and corrupting.
Okay.
We'll take care of it.
All right. Weird that that audio file is like, I don't know if that's on my computer or if
We should split up.
I don't know.
You head
That was
straight
weird.
to Frostforge and find the totem. Bram and I will make our way there from the other side.
You and me?
We won't be far away. White Bear will be all the more impressed if you deal with this alone. If you're successful, I'll speak to White Bear myself.
I feel like this is some BS. I feel like we're getting Where she's like, if you mow my lawn for me, then I'll see what I can do. Like, that's what this feels like, right? I have every confidence that you can handle this challenge alone. All right. Again, so the idea of a hunter hunting prey by themselves is like an important thing in Norn culture. So I guess we'll give her a pass on that. But Air really sounds like an idiot. All right, where do I go? Spiner have a base in High Peaks, and they're raising a totem to Jormag. I don't, like this. You care so much about this. You don't care about Mordramoth. You know what? I don't care that much about the Svanir raising a totem. So why do I care? Like, all right. If you do this, we'll put in good word. You'll put in a good word with Newt. I'll make sure he understands that. That's like not even really committal. All right. Let's go, Bram. Let's go do a thing. Oh, we're gonna go do it by ourselves. Bram is gonna go with Air. All right. Why? Huh. All right. Welp, let's go do it then. Oh, good. I already have that waypoint. So this is going to be our segue into what was probably one of the... Oh, it's already happening right now. So we'll see, because we may end up bypassing almost this entire event, which is going to kind of make it more difficult to talk about. There was a part of this little mission chain that we're about to do, or that we may not be able to do. It depends on how quickly they finish the end part after we talked Cal in here. The assault is underway. Join Fenris and the others. All right, I'm going. I'm on my way. So we'll see whether there's a tag over there and everything. Like, the days of this requiring a tag are like way long. All right, now it's got the... We went from having the cross swords to having the skulls. So probably we're not even going to make it before they finish. And then we'll have to come back here and we'll have to do the entire thing from scratch. When this chain was originally... Well, parts of this chain have always been around. But then they put this together to make it into this event, and it's going to be like a big deal because it's tied to Living World Season 2. And one of the events was up at Coiled Watch, and it turned out that you needed to succeed the event for story, to advance your story, but it was more profitable to fail at the event. So once a whole bunch of people had successfully completed their story and they no longer cared about other people's story, then they started intentionally... we bypassed almost the whole thing. They started intentionally scaling up and failing the event so that they could farm champions, champion level enemies. And what that meant was other people who ended up on those maps could then not advance their story. And it ended up being a really ugly thing. It was predictable, it was unnecessary, it was stupid, and it lasted far... In fact, I don't think they ever did anything to fix it, to be honest. They just waited for it to pass.
I'd almost forgotten what it was like to fight in the cold. It's invigorating.
Well done, Bram. That was impressive.
Impressive.
Thanks. That was the first time I've ever seen you fight. I guess the legends are true.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So, who else is starving?
I could eat a whole Dolyak, and its harness.
Let's head back to Holbrek, and we can celebrate with a feast. What do you say?
Alright. Cool. So we got through that very quickly, right? Because we didn't have to do the whole event chain. You're right. You can handle it on your own. Well, I didn't have to do it on my own. There was some random commander who already had everything handled for us. Now I can relay this legendary feat to White Bear. Well, tell him about the commander. Don't tell him about me. But I'm going to skip the feast anyway, because I'm a jerk. And I have to go meet a friend near the Black Citadel. Bram's friend Rox. I hear she's a good companion. I think they're dating, Air. I think your son's dating a cat.
Thank you for destroying the totem.
We're always happy to send the Svanir home crying.
That's exactly how I feel.
I don't, by the way, think they're dating. It's just they did a very bad job of writing, like, friendship.
Walk with Wolf at your side.
You too.
You too. awkward. They're awkward. They're intended to be awkward. I think it's even more awkward because it's not very... Like, it's awkwardly written awkwardness. You mean strong and confident? Is she always like... Obviously, Bram does not mean strong and confident. Alright. We're making excuses for the fact that she was a deadbeat mom. If anyone can convince Newt Whitebear to attend the summit, it's her. Okay. Well, I'm glad he warmed up to his mom, I guess. That's nice. Let's work on getting Newt to the summit. We also need to go check on rocks. So, I do want to close the loop on this thing, though. Coiled Watch. So the event, initially, there's an escort. Comes up from where we first started talking to someone. When they said, hey, the thing's already happening. Hurry up and get over there. So the escort comes up here. Long like this. Then it comes up, crosses the bridge, and ends up here at Coiled Watch. And then you have to take Coiled Watch before another escort goes down there, and then you go in and you do that whole event, which we caught the very end of.
Feel the fury.
If there's a lot of people here, it'll scale way up. And because the event to take it has like whole waves of spawn here, you can end up getting like 6 or 7 champions, something like that. And it has because it's tied to the story, it has a very, very quick cooldown period before the event starts again. Particularly if it fails, right? So you can fail it, and then the cooldown's like stupid short. And you can just keep failing it with a whole bunch of people here who intentionally say, because it's about claiming an area. So the ring comes up, but you can kill all these guys staying out of the ring, and so you never actually claim the area, right? So it's a whole thing that happens, and it was creating a lot of conflict, and it was really turning a lot of people off. In fact, once I completed that, because, you know, like, there's people who are able to play day one, and then there's people who can't, right? Generally, in spite of my career, when I've not been deployed, I've been able to be like a day one player for most things, right? Where am I going? Here. Which is like a luxury. So I was able to get my story done when people were actually doing the story. But then it was only within a few days that they started doing that and farming the event, and people were getting locked out of their stories. And because I was already done with my story, I kind of didn't play until I took some time off because it was such a turnoff. Video games always bring out the worst in people. They really do. Because it's a consequence-free environment. So you can be whatever your most garbage self is. And 100% that was bringing out people's most garbage selves. And it was gross. So many human beings, probably an overwhelming majority of human beings, are trash. And it was evident then. And it's interesting because ArenaNet has put in a ton of effort to try and avoid that type of situation. They really have, and so most of the game you don't see it. Whereas like Black Desert Online or something, you see it all the time, and so it just becomes normal. Like, oh yeah, human beings are garbage. But generally in Guild Wars 2, you don't experience that. So then when they make a design mistake that's inconsistent with their philosophies, and then it's kind of thrown up in your face, it's really, really gross because you're not accustomed to seeing it. And Coiled Watch was very much that kind of thing. All right, Rox, what's up? I'm glad you're here. I was dreading having to do this without backup. So I wish Rox was not quite as scared of RYTLOCK, and like, now, I thought Smoder was here too, was he not? Okay, but anyway, I kind of wish that like Rox was a little bit more char, but okay. His response was to order you to meet in person when you were trying to talk to RYTLOCK. Yeah, no way around it now. I don't want to see his disappointment in me. He has nothing to be disappointed about. Well, I don't know. Does he though? Like, let's get that from RYTLOCK's point of view. So this is a reference to, by the way, in case this dialogue is confusing. RYTLOCK had ordered Rox to kill Scarlet. Rox was in a position, at the end of season 1, to kill Scarlet. But instead, Rox tended to Bram and his injuries, and we were the ones who killed Scarlet. And so, in that sense, Rox is saying, well, I let RYTLOCK down. I was not the one who killed Scarlet. Let's see what RYTLOCK has to say about it. He's over here giving orders to all these Blood Legion.
Well, Rox, you're actually showing your face. That shows courage, considering what you're here for.
Tribune?
You want me to talk the Imperator into attending your summit, and yet you disobeyed my order to end Scarlet.
I had to make a battlefield decision, Tribune.
If it hadn't been for our friend here, Scarlet would still be out there murdering people and ruining Tyria one city at a time.
Yes, Tribune.
At ease, soldier. Excuse me while I discuss this with someone I know I can rely on.
So I'm kind of ambivalent on this. So I get it. Have I spoken to a subordinate like that at some point in the past? Keeping in mind that this is like supposed to be very military, right? From a military perspective, that is not a crazy kind of line of dialogue there. Except that, also from a military perspective, Rox is actually kind of in a position of strength here. Like, so it's like they got the tone right. It's like someone at Arena talked to someone who's in the military and managed to capture the tone, but didn't manage to understand the nuances of how things are actually done in the military. Because Rox is actually more right than RYTLOCK is. Even if kind of the dialogue and stuff work pretty effectively, RYTLOCK's simply, like, more wrong than he is right. And here I am defending Rox, and RYTLOCK says to me, I know that look. You don't have to defend Rox, well, you sure haven't lost any of your drill sergeant charm. I'm rough on her, but someone has to be. She's too soft inside. She'd have been dead long ago if I hadn't toughened her up. So this is one of several times, right? We're going to get it again, I think, here real soon, too. When RYTLOCK's talking about Rox being, like, much younger. I don't know what that relationship is. I don't know that it's ever been, like, fully developed. But we get several hints that RYTLOCK has known Rox for a long time. You going to punish her for not killing Scarlet? No, I understand why she did. She's a free agent now. She and I don't have to see eye to eye anymore. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm not going to give her grief when she needs it. What does that mean exactly? Ask her. All I can say is I'm not responsible for her anymore. Okay. So, has she told you why we're here? Not much. In her mail, she mentioned something about you want Imperial Smodor to attend some strategic gathering. Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Tribune, we also have information that will interest you and Imperator Smodor. It's about the Elder Dragons.
I know. Words reached me that Mordremoth is active.
That's an understatement. It's been destroying entire forts. We're not sure how far it can reach. The Black Citadel
has enough to worry about with branded and Ascalonian ghosts.
So basically, he's, at least initially here, he's going to take the same stance that Air took, with the whole, like, Newt Whitebeard thing. If that's not enough, it takes everything else we got to keep the Flame Legion off our ramps. Yeah, so Ghost, Branded, and Flame Legion. So Char really do have, like, multiple threats simultaneously, right? And before you know it, you'll add Mordremoth to the list. Here's Rox. Tribune, the Branded are contained to one region. Mordremoth is quickly spreading across all of Tyria. It has already reached as far as Timberline Falls and Keswick Hills. And Iron Marches. We didn't mention Iron Marches? Mordremoth reached Char lands. Yeah, Iron Marches. Oh, we're going to mention it because Rox didn't mention it. Okay. That changes things. Oh, now you care. How bad is the situation? Now, I mean, that's like not like crazy though, right? Yeah, people tend to not care until it affects their group. So in the world, we view that usually along either ethnic lines or like geopolitical, like country boundaries. Here we see it along like racial boundaries within, these different races. Not really any different. Alright, no one interior can ignore it any longer. We have to take the greatest threat first, that's Mordremoth. Convincing me and convincing Imperator Smodor are two different things entirely. There must be something we can do, so here we go again. Mow another lawn.
I carry Sohathan, my blade. It's said to have the power to reverse the foe fire.
Is that true, or just a myth?
I plan to test it. After years of research, I finally found the proper combination of elements to unlock the sword's powers.
You could rid us of all the ghosts?
That's the idea. We do that and Smodor will have less to worry about. Then we can convince him to attend the summit.
Okay. I'm on board, I guess. Because I've already done this once, right? This is exactly what we did with Air. She's like, hey, go do this thing for me. Now, in fairness to ArenaNet, that's how we have substance to the game, right? If Air didn't say that, if RYTLOCK didn't say that, then we wouldn't have these things to go do, thus giving us content, right? So that's the design. And again, as a reminder, it was Corteria and this map. And, what's it called? South Sun Cove, but nothing happens. Like, South Sun Cove is a throwaway map. So it was Corteria, and this map was all that was around at the time. So that meant that for us to be engaged, you know, RYTLOCK and Air are going to have to send us to go do things. So what's the story here? So RYTLOCK's sword is a magical sword. It's actually a human sword. It was wielded by human royalty, and you can get this sword in the first Guild Wars game. And you can actually have it in Guild Wars 2 based off of your achievements in the first Guild Wars game. So like on my main account, I have the Fiery Dragon Sword. His is a very specific one, though. It has like a name. I actually don't remember the name right this second. But, hey, where'd it go? He's doing it like an emote. So there it is. All right, so he's got this very specific sword. He believes that this sword is the... And the search for this sword, as I recall, takes place within one of the books. I didn't read the book, so I'm not going to comment on like what does or does not happen there. I don't recall specifically. But if you're really, really curious about that whole thing, because I think it has to do with Logan and stuff, then, you know, by all means, read one of the books. There's a lot... I've mentioned a couple times how there's a lot of magic in Guild Wars 2 that is outside of the dragons and the ley lines and stuff that we get within the lore of Guild Wars 2 as a video game. And some of the ancient magic associated with the humans, for example, the ghosts and the sword, appears to be outside of that. It is a different magic. And so there's lots of room there in terms of what they might try to do. There's room for them to kind of play around, them being the studio, if they wanted to. And here we kind of see that, right? I've researched the ritual, this being the ritual to try and get rid of all these ghosts. And I learned a lot about Ascalonian history. This story began over 1,000 years ago, when this ritual was first formulated by the human gods. Okay, so this is a human god magic. And now that we look back and we understand that the human gods are alien to Tyria, is this a magic they actually brought with them? Or like, there's a lot of questions there, right? The Six gave them magic. Gave them being the humans, I guess. At the same time, they also gave one of them a magical crown and 2 magical swords to protect the kingdom. Sohathan, that's the one that RYTLOCK carries, and Magdair, those are the 2 swords. And King Adalbern had inherited the crown. Question mark? Exactly. Okay. And we see that in the Ascalon Catacombs dungeon, right? We see Adalbern like wearing the crown and stuff. The crown was designed to break into 4 parts. When the fragments are separated, they're hard to see. This was a safeguard to keep this powerful item from falling into the wrong hands, and the crown is required for the ritual. It is. When Adalbern enacted the ritual of Magdair, he became a ghost. But the crown was preserved and found by Char, who entered the area later. They toyed with it, and the fragments were lost. Stupid Char. And you found them? He found 1. I'm asking you to go find the others. So you would think that this is like a monumental task, right? In theory, the fragments work like magnets to each other. Once you have one, you'll feel a pull towards the others. So there's kind of our there's like the little mechanism within the story to explain why this is going to take us much less time than you would think it would to find like, you know, fractured pieces of an ancient relic. Even after all this time, you're sure they're there? He's hopeful. That's not sure. They're different. Okay, well, heck, man. Let's go for it. We need the crown to perform the ritual. Might as well say, you, RYTLOCK Brimstone, are going to perform a ritual. Now that's notable because in Guild Wars 1, the Char were like mystics. Like their religious construct was very important to them. In Guild Wars 2, they are agnostic, you might say. They're not atheist. Because in the world of Tyria, there can't really be an atheist. Like, the evidence of all this supernatural stuff is, like, very clear. But they choose to disregard the divine, and so they're like humanists, except that they're not humans, right? So the idea, and RYTLOCK tends to kind of be viewed as like the Char's Char, like he's like super part of the whole Char thing. So for him to perform a ritual seems odd. But if it means succeeding at breaking the faux fire curse, I'd put on a robe and call myself Shaman Brimstone. You know, I almost, like, I say this sometimes, and I never do it because I don't want to spend the money on character slots, but I almost want, like, a Shaman Brimstone, like, Necromancer or something. That'd be fun. Alright. I guess we gotta go find pieces of a crown. Let's do that. And first crown fragment near the ruins of Oldgate. Yeah, there we go. This one's not bad. We may have to do an event, or the event may already be done. We'll see. So the event being that guy that we just talked to, Rel Crank, what was it, Crankmane or whatever? He goes on a mission to set up these two machines, one over here and then the other one over here. And it enables you to then get this. Now, because the machine's already set up, then we were able to ignore, then we didn't have to do the event. We could just roll right over there and grab the fragment of the crown, which again we knew where it was because presumably like RYTLOCK gave us the one piece, which kind of allowed we were able to kind of use it like a compass to find the next piece, right? Because they pull towards each other. Oh, good, I got a waypoint right next to this one too. All right, so Serenity Temple was a specific place in the first Guild Wars. I actually found it to be one of the more interesting places in the first Guild Wars, because of the way it existed, where it was kind of out in the middle of a desolate area, and was kind of this circular like fort, but it had like a mystic quality to it. It was super cool. Now it doesn't feel the same, you know, in Guild Wars 2. So Guild Wars 2 in general is like a much cooler, like aesthetically more beautiful game. It's very interesting. I think Guild Wars 2 is aesthetically a fantastic game. However, if there's, there are a handful of areas that are much less interesting in Guild Wars 2 than they are in the first Guild Wars. That's not terribly common because Guild Wars 2 is a better looking game, but this is one of those areas. So, alright. So, like with the last location, there's an event here that you potentially have to wait on. But this event also, we got lucky and we don't have to do it. That'll be the case with all three of these. Okay, so we got the second. Should we come help out Jade Faith Striker over here? That's quite a name. And then we will go to, yeah, look at that. We got a waypoint right there too. Man, we got real lucky with all this business. Because this character doesn't have a ton of map completions, so kind of pleasantly surprised. So the event that happens here is actually, oh, we're going to get it right now. You see how the green thing for the crown just disappeared? Bria is, within the lore, a fascinating character.
Innocent children have come to play at my home.
We're not sweet. We're ferocious warriors. Rawr.
Oh yes, I can see that. Come closer, my little champion.
Delicious.
I have something for you. It's a warrior's prize, worthy of your courage.
A present? I want one.
Oh,
What
you
is it?
stupid children.
An unbreakable shield? Is it a flaming sword like Tribune Brimstone's?
It's
I
something
chose
even
you.
better, little ones. For your bravery, I reward you with
Endless torment.
Oh, what a good thing to reward. So, she's a necromancer.
children. Come
She's
on,
in heavy
join
armor,
me.
which is interesting, right?
Feel the fury.
In case you were curious, the name Bria is not available, by the way. I've tried.
That wasn't very nice.
So now she is, like, transformed. We thought we defeated her. But now she kind of shows her true nature. You see she's kind of powering back up here. So she is not...
Feel the fury.
she's not alive,
Time to do some real
I guess is, kind of like what I was trying to figure out how to say. Bria is a ghost, just like we see the ghosts of like Ascalon and stuff. Bria is one of those, but unlike most of them that we see, she can manifest herself differently. So, and it's super weird, right? Because she's a necromancer, she is a ghost herself. So, there's like that weird phenomena where sometimes NPCs possess powers or qualities or whatever that the player cannot themselves possess. So the NPC is significantly more powerful than the player, even though as a player we are the chosen one. No player character necromancer would be as powerful as Bria is.
Bria, release the children.
And Scholar Abel here knows this.
The children are mine now. Claim them, and I will consume your old dusty souls as well.
Oh no.
Feel the fury.
Sharper still.
Oh, she moved on me. Wasn't paying very good attention.
Shadow creature, or it will torment the child forever.
Oh, that seems bad. What shadow creature?
Help me! Help me!
Oh, there it is. Alright. Quit tormenting children. Shadow creature.
Flee!
Man, she runs around so much. So, yeah, Bria, really interesting. I think for, like,
I cannot die.
so now we see her in, like, her true ghostly form, like ghostly. Like the other ghosts of Ascalon.
Ghost and a necromancer? I didn't know that was possible.
Bria was no ordinary necromancer. Even Adelbern's curse couldn't bind her for long.
The foe fire? If she was a ghost of Ascalon, doesn't that mean she will reappear?
Yes, and in time she will regain all of her strength and abilities, even as a ghost.
Great. Let's get out of here before that happens.
Indeed, and urge your young not to play in these woods any longer.
So you'd think that the young weren't playing, like they should know not to play in the woods. Look at all these ghosts. Ghosts all over the place. But apparently our children are stupid. So here they were playing around Bria's house. And they got what they had coming to them. But we got what we needed, which is the final crown piece. So, let's see what RYTLOCK has to say about that. I guess if I were to make a Bria like cosplay character, I would actually not make it an. I'd make it a. I'd make it a revenant, so that I could wield staff in heavy armor. Because if you make her a necromancer, you can't wield, or you can't wear that armor. Huh. Oh, look, it's Smoter.
You made it. Not that I doubted you for a minute. Have you met Imperator Smoter?
I know you by reputation. I've also received your request. If this mission eliminates even a portion of the enemy, I will attend your summit. What's the plan, Brimstone?
What's the plan, Brimstone? Yeah, we found all the pieces of the crown. Hold on. This crown is very important to my people. Why is that suddenly our thing? We never cared about this crown until RYTLOCK had us grab the pieces. You don't want me to use it? You must promise you'll give it back to me when this is over. Alright. It all hinges on Sahathan, my sword. There were originally two of them, Sahathan and another called Magdir. They were given to the Ascalonians as protection against invasion. By the gods. We remember that. We've already had this talk. A couple hundred years or so ago, Sahathan was wielded by Rurik. That's son of King Adelbert. That's Guild Wars 1. That is like part of the story. You see all this happen. So that sword that Rurik had is the one that RYTLOCK ends up with, right? Irrelevant. And again, I think that's in the book, how he ends up with it. I think Logan helps him get it, if I remember right. Anyway, long suspected that Sahathan is a blade that can break the curse. So Magdir is a sword that Adelbern used to create the curse in the first place, right? So it makes sense then that the two swords would, that one would complement the other somehow. Okay. So RYTLOCK was reading scrolls at the Priory, and he's going to do a ritual. It's an Orion ritual, which makes it old. It's got to be legitimate, right? Because if it's old, then it must be legitimate. He's going to channel ghost essence into the sword. And so we are going to need to help him, kill ghosts, maybe? Smoter. We may be here on a fool's errand, but it's worth a try. Why not, dude? Why not? So the only weird thing about this is, and this is like a classic, video game and, fantasy movie thing, is, why is the leader of your entire race here for this? Maybe he should not be, directly fighting the ghost himself. I don't know. RYTLOCK has done the impossible before. That's high praise. The ghosts have plagued my people for too long. I spend every day looking for ways to end it. Alright, well, let's do it. It must be infuriating for humans, even those who aren't. Yeah, so, as a human, if human ghosts are popping up and, tormenting me and cursing me and attacking me and I have to fight them, I guess that would be unfortunate. Yeah. I mean, we should want to put them to rest, right? That's fair. Rocks. We got everything we need. The crown you put together is historic. Crackles with the weight of Ascalon's ancestors. Cool, man. Surely getting rid of the ghost can't be this easy. Getting the crown was no stroll in the pavilion, Rocks. Well, it wasn't that hard either. But okay, we got the crown. Can you imagine the rage if they put one of the pieces of crown in a raid or something? There were no raids when season 2 was happening, but you get what I'm saying. Ghosts building up, waiting for us to come through. Cool, let's do it.
We need to cleanse the foe fire.
How do you know this will work?
It'll work because I said so.
You're on point, Brimstone.
Man,
Yes, sir.
that's a line right at Fast and the Furious. So there are 2 or 3 things that I would compare Guild Wars 2 story writing to. One of them is Fast and Furious. Another one's Scooby-Doo. I've been saying for a better part of the entire time that the game has been around that I feel like if you take Scooby-Doo characters and you're Scooby-Doo and in Fast and Furious and mix them, that's what Guild Wars 2 feels like for me. The game is so good, but I've never felt like the story playthrough for me is fun. The instances are fun. It doesn't mean the dialogue and stuff are good. They're 2 different things. Alright. And Season 2 is better than, 3. This is better than what we're going to get next. Well, not next, but... Alright. Well, we're not done, Imperator Smoter. So, don't count your devourers before they're hatched, bro. And it's interesting that you can have a world that is good. Like, I think the world building is fantastic. I think the story is bad. And that's not contradictory. Like, they're two different things. And I think that I am correct in both of those statements. I feel strongly that I'm correct in both those statements. All right, everybody here? Everybody ready to go? Here we go. So,
The tomb is just ahead. That's where we'll test the foe fire cleansing. It's a place of power.
I guess there's no turning back once we step through that arch, huh?
You prefer to go back to the Farrar, Cub?
No, sir.
so I don't want to like throw a big spoiler out there, but it shouldn't be a spoiler because it should be obvious. And even the first time I played through this, like, it was really obvious. We can't put an end to the Ascalonian ghost, right? Because that's like a thing all across here and up in, you know, well, not so much here, but like all through Plains of Ashford and stuff. That's like a big deal. And because this is the wall, right? And this is where the humans like defending themselves against the Char. The Char were native. In fact, there should be something here. Yeah, Blood Legion homelands and all that. Like, the Char came down from here. And then this was the wall that humans built. And now it's like trashed by this point in time because it was Guild Wars 1 stuff. But, yeah, toppled wall, right? But, like, this was Old Duke's estate. Like, that is, like, that's a place in Guild Wars 1. Like, this was all human in Guild Wars 1. And some of the names, like Char's Triumph, like, there's a reason that it's called that, right? Ascalon City was like a, you know, that's where you start your whole Guild Wars 1 experience. So, you can't just change the entire game, an entire starting area for an entire race, right? Based off this story instance. So even when I was playing through it the first time, like, obviously, this isn't going to 100% succeed. But it is a solid instance, though, in my opinion, in terms of, like, the gameplay for it. So, all right, could go any direction. Let's do it, RYTLOCK. Let's cleanse this joint. Let's do it. So if you're a Char character, this should be an area that's familiar to you. You come down here during the Char tutorial and you fight this statue. So much like it is right now, it forms together and then fights you. But it's different than it is here.
They're possessing what's left of Baradin's statue.
So it looks just like that during the tutorial.
Nothing worth fighting for is ever easy.
Ha! You do listen.
Only when I feel it.
Yeah, you're all kind of idiots. Okay.
Feel the fury.
So what we need to watch for is that. We don't want these menders coming in here and healing the statue, right? Oh, and we also don't want those spectral. See how much damage I did? And there is, by the way, an achievement for never getting hit by those things. It's one of those achievements where whenever I do this instance, I generally try to, you know, like, I try not to get hit by them. I always try to get the achievement, even if I already have it on that account, because I feel like it's a benchmark for, like, whether or not I'm doing a good job, which probably is not the case, but... Oh, there's another one. I'm actually doing a very bad job right now. So the challenge with getting that achievement, by the way, is not, like, you know, staying away from them or whatever the case may be. Like, that's not really the issue. The issue is that that they sometimes spawn, like, right on top of you. So there's a feeling sometimes. Well, if you get knocked down, that doesn't help either. Oh my gosh. So that in this case, that was a result of, like, bad gameplay on my part. Like, I did a bad job. But there is sometimes the feeling when one of them spawns right on top of you that, like, it kind of felt like bad RNG or something. Like, oh man, that's junk that you know, I'm trying to get this achievement, and then Now I can't, you know. When I first got it on my main account, like it legit took me several tries. And I was frustrated by it. A couple other accounts I've since got it, like, you know, first try. I had completely forgotten about it, actually, this time. So, there you go. Not going to get it. Not going to get it this time around. Alright, well, let's do it then. So these fear wards can be attacked. And so if they're keeping you from, like, navigating the playing area, then kill them. Come on. Drop that shield, RYTLOCK. That's annoying.
Sohathan is charged.
I feel good.
Let's take that shield down.
Yeah, please do. Thanks.
Feel the fury.
Man. So there's an example, like, where you'd want to, you know, I want to get up here to deal with this mender, but there's one, you know, they're side by side there. That's a good example of, like, wanting to, you know, address them in some way.
Another personal victory.
Alright, well, not my finest. Good final one. Huh. Oh, yeah, the menders.
Ascalon, I free you from this curse. I have to go after it. Without it, we'll never end this war. Go!
I need to go after him.
The portal is closed. You can't.
But,
Stand down, soldier. You'll be fine. If anything, I'd be worried for the poor souls that get in his way. This is his mission, not yours.
Alright, so this is actually, like, a pretty important moment in the whole, like, Guild Wars 2 storyline. RYTLOCK is gone. He did the ceremony. The ceremony did not bring an end to the ghosts. Instead, it opened this crevice in the earth, and whoop, down went his sword, and he felt that the sword was so important to trying to eliminate the threat of the ghosts that he dived in after it. And Rox wanted to go after him, but she could not. The rift closed, or the abyss or whatever closed before she could go down in there after him. Brimstone will be back. Don't worry, says Imperator Smoter, the Unflinching. He took a lot of ghosts with him. So this is, remember I talked about how they can't just make all the ghosts go away because, like, this entire map is kind of dependent on that and everything. This was their solution for that. The ceremony, the ritual, sort of worked because he took a lot of ghosts with him. So in theory, RYTLOCK was successful in reducing the threat of the ghosts to the chart. I noticed. He may not have ended the curse, but he had an effect. And you played a pivotal role. I'll come to your summit for that reason alone. Even after the cleansing failed. The cleansing's not over. Brimstone's dedication to his duty will bring him back. It's weird how they're, like, matter-of-fact confident about this. Like, he did jump into an abyss. But okay, I'm glad. Apparently, I don't care that much. Right? Like everyone seems okay with this. But at least Motor is coming to the thing. Rox? What just happened? Well, your boy RYTLOCK just jumped into a hole in the ground. Oh, no. Apparently, I know enough about these things to know it was a portal to the Mists, which we find out it is, right? So, here's kind of the, like, omniscient player character. Not omniscient narrator, but omniscient player character. Just spontaneously, it was a portal to the Mists. The Miss? I hope so. At least we know you can come back from the Miss. Yeah, every time someone plays World vs. World, that's what they do. And that's one of the many interesting things about the Miss in this game. He went after Sahathan. All right. Yeah. More hope than ever that the sword might one day break the curse. I just wish he hadn't gone alone. Every Guild Wars 2 player wishes he hadn't gone alone, because the whole yeah. Much later we'll get to like the conversation about why that's so important. Okay. I suppose there's no way to find him. No, none. The mists are vast. All right, we'll take that at face value. My heart is still hammering. I just have to keep telling myself he'll be fine. He's been in bigger scrapes. I know. I'm worried too, Rocks. But yeah, the Imperator's coming to the summit, so yay. Flunt hasn't backed out? What about Queen Jenna? Flunt is waiting on Timey's device. Yeah, what about that? And Casimir convinced the Queen to come. What if they don't come? That'd be bad.
Just one more confirmation of how great I am.
It'd be bad. Alright. So, that is it for Chapter 3. Which is the Dragon's Reach Part 1, right? So there's a lot going on within this, like, this arc of the, like, the World Summit thing, right? So they split it into 2 chapters, which should be, like, fundamentally a good thing, right? Like, they have something going on that requires enough build-up to justify more than one chapter out of Living World. Like, that should be good. And I think in many ways it is. I don't necessarily think they do, as much as I pick on like very specific things, I don't think they did a terrible job of it. So,
Air consumption could be a problem this first.
What? Are you talking to a rat? What am I doing up here with this person? Hell no, I ain't hanging out with no rat talking person. Ah, yeah, here's a good spot. Alright, so, having completed 3rd chapter of Season 2, this is where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. So, what do we got going on? So, we are trying to bring all the races together and unite them against Mordremoth because we feel the threat is so imminent. And what has made the threat so clear to us? Well, we know that the Dragon's Reach extends as far as all the way over here in Iron Marches. Again, assuming the dragon's somewhere over here. It extends all the way over here now. And we've seen it to lethal effect, not only way up here, but over in right about here. Where's nope, that's not it. Nope. There we go. Concordia. So we've seen it all the way over here, and we've seen it up here at Fort Selma. So we've seen it reaching out to various distances. So we have 2 things running simultaneously. We have we're trying to get all the races on board for the summit, and then also Timey is working on saving the Waypoint network, because this whole network of Waypoint, like to get from point A to point B, our fast travel system is now 100% part of the lore and is in danger of Mordremoth's attacks, because Mordremoth is being drawn to their like magic resonance. So Timey is over in her lab, which used to be Scarlet's lab, trying to find a solution for this, and trying to help us. And in fact, her ability to find a solution is directly related to whether or not the Asurans are going to participate in the summit. So that's all the stuff we got going on right now. Tomorrow, well, maybe not tomorrow. Here in the near future, we will continue forward and try to kind of find out whether or not we're going to be able to bring that summit to fruition, and then what comes of that. So that is what we'll be looking at next time. So thank you for joining me today, and thanks for viewing. Later.